Hello everyone, I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer, and welcome back to another just simple vlog. I wanted to just make this because I think it's kind of important for this specific video to be talked about. And it's a video telling you guys how No Man's Sky tutorial has changed. And this is, 2017, after a year, the game's updated, changed a lot. And the tutorial has actually changed a lot. And the biggest change to the tutorial is actually how fast how much time it takes to get the interstellar space travel. I think it's called the pulse engine, not the pulse engine. I don't remember, the warp drive. That's right, the warp drive. How long it takes you to get the warp drive, which is the device that lets you travel interstellar. You go from star to star. And in the original game, I don't remember how long it took me. I think it took me like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, I don't remember the specifics, but it took me a long time to get the warp drive. It took me at least 2 or 3 hours. And now, it took me about an hour to get. Granted, I did some extra side quests. I'm just including straight up if I followed the story. It took me about an hour, maybe like 45 minutes to get the warp drive. So right off the bat, the tutorial up to the warp drive is only a third of how long it used to be. And this goes for everything, My original tutorial games in No Man's Sky, I had to do a lot of walking around, collecting resources, doing this, doing that. And I didn't really get to do much besides gather resources and walk around. And the tutorial has also added a couple extra components. They added a space station, more space station travel, and along with a crashed freighter ship. And the freighter ship just kind of tells you, hey, you got to do this, that, and the other to do this. And it's like, oh, okay. It was kind of an awkward introduction, the freighter ship. It was a little awkward, but it filled in instead of going to another space station or another colony or another abandoned location. It added an extra location, and that's a big part. Is the tutorial is a lot more of, it's a lot more varied, a lot more different things, and it's just kind of an overall better tutorial. In my opinion, the point when you travel from one solar system to another is the end of the tutorial. That is where I consider the tutorial. So the end of the tutorial is you traveling to another star, because you understand how to explore everything now, right? That's about it. Other than maybe buying a freighter or something like that, maybe you don't know how to do that. But the tutorial kind of still forgets to introduce the galactic trade terminals. It tells you how to buy stuff and sell stuff. But this is a good thing. I'm going to tell you guys why it doesn't introduce the galactic trade terminal as well. Because it's such a simple mechanism that you don't need to introduce it. You simply got to go and it says, go to a galactic trade terminal and buy this thing. And when you click on the galactic trade terminal, it says, oh, you can also sell things. Sell things from your exosuit or your ship. And it's instantly boom, there you go. I feel like the tutorial, it tells you the controls really easily, and then it tells you, scan and discover some plutonium. You discover some plutonium, and then it goes, go and find this resource now that you know how to mine plutonium. It doesn't really baby you as much as I remember it. I remember it babied me a lot. I felt very linear path, which kind of slowed the gameplay down. But this game, it's yeah, you know how to mine stuff, so we're going to send you off to go mine some stuff. And it's plain and simple. I like it. I like the way the tutorial is now. Very short, very simple, very to the point. And just I think it took me, if I didn't sit there and do some little bits of side quests, I think it took me 15 minutes to get the ship up and running. It was no time at all for me to get the ship up and running. Before my couple tutorials that I did play, I had to do so much walking and exploring, and part of the reason why was because I had to find some Thamium-9, and when you scan for resources, it just goes, oh, there's an isotope over there, instead of it being, plutonium or carbon or Thamium-9. Now it's specifics with the plutonium and the Thamium-9 and the iridium and this, that, and the other. And it makes it easier to find Thamium-9 because you're not sitting there going from isotope to isotope location finding a bunch of plutonium. Or maybe not even plutonium, maybe it's carbon, right? And plutonium is a big thing in this new version of the tutorial. What I noticed was in the original tutorial, I had to walk 10 minutes to a little settlement that had plutonium. And it didn't even have a lot of plutonium. It had just enough plutonium. there was not a lot of plutonium in my original tutorials. And now there is like sources of plutonium next to you. It's really good. It's really easy. You know, it's a lot more, a little bit streamlined. Almost like when you make a new save, the game is like, okay, we're going to put you here and we're going to put resources around you instead of having you just see if you can find them on your own. Because if they're around you, they get your ship up and running and then you can find them on your own. It eases you into the game very well. And even tells you to shoot some rocks, which was not in the tutorial before, as I remember. It tells you to shoot some rocks in space, and that's a big thing because before, if you didn't know that rocks contained iron and thamium-9, oh, it was horrible collecting thamium-9. I spent so many, I think the currency in the game is units, so I just spent a bunch of units on thamium-9 last time I played this game. It was horrible. And buying and trading, it is very apparent that there is some sort of economic system because once the game tells you about the galactic map, and it's like, oh, by the way, this has an economy status, this has a war status, and you start looking at planets and it's like, oh, this planet has a bunch of emerald on it or nickel or whatever. It starts to become apparent that there's some kind of economy going on when you get to the Galactic Trade Terminal section of the tutorial, where you have to go and buy some stuff. It's, you know, the pricing, like this is more expensive in this location or cheaper. The pricing is very, very apparent in bright colors, and that's really good design. The fact that they didn't have to explain, look here, to see the prices, is they just kind of made it so it's noticeable. And not only is it noticeable, but it's easy to see if something's more expensive in one Galactic Trade Terminal than another. It's very easy. They killed two birds with one stone. You don't have to deal with trying to figure out if the value of stuff, you know, it just tells you. Again, the trade terminal, I think in the original game, the trading was set up probably one of the better points of the game. I still don't think it's 100% yet, but it's better than it was originally, but originally it was still kind of good. And like they said, they wanted you to be able to play as a trader. You can play as a trader now, where you just go from system to system, you know, buy a bunch of emerald over here and then sell it over there and just go back and trade all your resources, you know, or maybe you just want to go mine. I find myself in this game in this version of the game, more than the last. I was like, I feel like mining now. I feel like trading now. I feel like going in space now. Like, the exploration part, you get a lot more money off of exploring, and you get a lot more money off of gathering. And trading, you get even more money. Like, they kind of balanced it out to where you don't have to just gather resources to gain money. Gathering resources is still, you know, if you can find a rare resource like emerald or gold, it's still the best way to make money. But if you don't want to sit there and laser the freaking stuff all day long, you know, maybe you want to explore. You can explore. Your time is spent just as valuably, because I noticed also the planets of the game in general just look better. Everything looks better. So I had a much more enjoyable experience in the tutorial because I wasn't getting lost either. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this planet had like emerald on it, and this planet had lots of grass and some animals on it. And I just kind of got situated with my environment more, and the tutorial was just a very smooth experience. Even though I played the tutorial before, I needed a refresher, and the game did a really good job of refreshing me how to play the game. But I just kind of noticed these little nuances in the tutorial that made it an easier experience, a less in-your-face experience, one that didn't feel on rails even though it basically was. So, I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of the tutorial in No Man's Sky? I thought it was really good. Now, I mean, before it was really bad, but now it's really good. But, yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, you can tell me in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new, because I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer. I suck just as bad as you do at video games. And I'll see you in the next episode, stream, or vlog of whatever I decide to make.